This is Raquel Gutierrez, and I am reading my poem titled Solipsistic. Solipsistic. I am required to resist the distractions and the easy wine that facilitates the annihilation of the other and their daily bread. To resist dabbling in the spoils, especially because the world has been hard. To do away with the thought that somehow I am owed. To carry the weight in everything we do, that there is nothing left to normalize, and we have given up any right to peace and contentment every time we pay the tax that allows for our own lives to consider only our own lives.
Jefferson Airplane was one of the first San Francisco bands to break out nationally from the mid-1960s Bay Area music scene. From 1965 to 1966, the band went under a number of personnel changes as they developed their musical identity. They worked their way up the San Francisco performance venue ladder from the Matrix nightclub to the Avalon, Fillmore, and Winterland auditoriums. Late 1966 saw the group evolve into its most familiar and popular incarnation. Clockwise from the upper left, Jack Cassidy bass, Grace Slick vocals, recorder, and occasional keyboards, Marty Ballin vocals, Spencer Dryden drums, Paul Kantner guitar and vocals, Jorma Kaukonen, guitar and vocals. This photo was also used on the cover of their February 1967 breakthrough album. Surrealistic Pillow peaked at number 3 on the Billboard album chart and eventually achieves platinum status. This iconic group image was taken by San Francisco photographer Herb Green, who was born in the Inland Empire city of Indio, Riverside County. In early 1966, Englishman John Ravencroft became a DJ on EYE radio station KMEN. Upon reaching his 2-month anniversary at the station, he shared the following thoughts about his time in the area. In part, he wrote, "The squeal of tires landing. Los Angeles, a whirlwind of twisting, climbing roads and garish signs. Car softly speeding from the scene to a dream. This is the Inland Empire, John. San Bernardino, Riverside, and a string of names spoken, forgotten, now being remembered." In 1967, he decided to return to his homeland, where he assumed the name John Peel. Over the next 30-plus years, he was one of the UK's most influential DJs, first on offshore pirate radio station Radio London, and later on BBC Radio 1. In the early 1990s, he began writing his autobiography, which was published in 2004. He told of visiting the 1966 Los Angeles studio sessions for Jefferson Airplane's Surrealistic Pillow album. Of the encounter, he wrote, "The record company bloke who'd taken me there said, 'This is John Ravencroft from KMEN San Bernardino.' And it was a bit like saying, 'Here's someone from hospital radio in Kettering,' you know." So they weren't overwhelmed. In fact, they were very snotty to me, although not as snotty as the Byrds. In December 1966, the first single to be released from Surrealistic Pillow was My Best Friend. However, it failed to crack the Billboard magazine Top Pop 100 chart, stalling at the number 103 position. In March 1967, the first Airplane single to hit Billboard's Top 100 record charts was released. Somebody to Love was a song that singer Grace Slick brought to the band after she joined the group. It peaked at the number 5 position. In the Inland Empire, Somebody to Love also reached the top 5 chart position of surveys compiled by local AM radio stations KFXM and KMEN. In mid-June 1967, Jefferson Airplane made a high-profile appearance at the Monterey International Pop Festival in Northern California. The 3-day series of concerts brought together some of the top music acts of the mid to late 1960s. Noted documentarian D.A. Pennebaker and his crew filmed and released a movie about the Seminole Rock Festival. It was to further spread the word about Jefferson Airplane. The third single released from Surrealistic Pillow was White Rabbit. The tune was also brought to the group by Grace Slick, who composed it. It reached the top 10 position on the Billboard National Top 100 chart. In July, White Rabbit held the number 1 position for 2 weeks in the K-Mendes 10 chart and the top 5 position on the KFXM Radio 59 Fabulous 40. With their increasing popularity in the Inland Empire, it was inevitable that Jefferson Airplane would be booked for a performance at the Swing Auditorium. They were, and the concert was presented by KMEN. This Came Entertainer article included a brief Billboard magazine review of their June appearance at the Monterey Pop Festival by Philip Elwood. He wrote, "The Jefferson Airplane brought down the house. It was because of their creative work within the field of rock. The Airplane were the most finished and consistent group that played during the whole festival." The week of the Airplane concert, there was yet another front-page announcement in the Came Entertainer about their impending appearance at the Swing Auditorium. Inside the publication, this article declared, "The Jefferson Airplane, who critics stated stole the show at the Monterey Pop Festival recently, will be appearing live at the Swing Auditorium for one night only, Monday, July 17th. Perhaps you thought you'd never be this close to stars of this caliber. The very love essence of the San Francisco sound." It also revealed that IE Group The Caretakers was the opening act. Tickets were $3 in advance and $3.50 at the door. The station was also giving away concert tickets to their listeners, announcing, "For the past week, the Cayman have been flying their own airplane. Hourly flights with the Cayman as captains of their Trans-Cayman Airlines. Lucky listeners who have predicted correctly the Cayman captain have been winning $3.50 Jefferson Airplane concert tickets." In Part 2 of Jefferson Airplane Plays the Swing Auditorium, KMEN DJ Robert E. Walker reports about his backstage encounter with the band.
Hold it. Isn't that wild? I just took 4 flash pictures without changing bulbs with Slovenia's fantastic new invention, the Blue Dot Flash Cube. Just pop one on any new Flash Cube model camera and shoot. Oops! What about regular flash cameras? Slovenia Blue Dot Flash bulbs. So for regular flash cameras, Blue Dot Flash bulbs. And for new Flash Cube model cameras, Blue Dot Flash Cubes. Slovenia Blue Dot Flash bulbs. Or Flash Cubes. Flash bulbs. Dot Flash Cubes. Isn't that wild?
Whoa! What's that, Barney? A more, Fred. A more? Yeah. Get on. I'll hold your new Post cereals. The Flintstones, Fruity Pebbles, and Cocoa Pebbles.
Thanks, pal.
Fruity Pebbles taste like a bowl of noisy fruit.
Hey, Barney!
And Cocoa Pebbles are Cocoa Moco good.
And why do you call this a more?
The more you ride it, the more I can eat your pebbles.
Who are you?
I love pebbles. Yabba dabba doo.
This side's kind of got the dark, and this side I think of as being more whimsical and kind of lighthearted. Anchoring the exhibit Under the Influence is this selection of posters that's part of a larger gift that Dr. James Gunn recently donated to the museum of nearly 300 posters, postcards, and other printed artifacts. While there are a few works that sort of fall through the 70s and a couple even in the early 80s, primarily the work is all from about 1966 to 1970, which is really the heyday of the psychedelic era. This, quiet, maybe the least exciting visually poster in the selection is, as an artifact, probably the most important. This is a poster by Rick Griffin for The Human Being, which was a free public event, a massive event at Golden Gate Park in January of 1967. And you can see on the bill Timothy Leary, Richard Alpert, Allen Ginsberg, Michael McClure, Gary Snyder. These are the major counterculture figures of the era. It was this, real gathering of the tribes, and really led to the Summer of Love that happened just a few months later. So what I've tried to do with this selection is pull out some of the most famous images. This one may be the most famous poster of them all. This is a Grateful Dead poster from 1966 by Mouse Studios, which was a collaboration between Stanley Miller, aka Stanley Mouse or Mouse, and Alton Kelly. This poster is so iconic because the Grateful Dead loved it, and they adopted it as one of their major marketing images. They put it on posters, T-shirts, and had these two artists actually do a number of their more famous record covers in the 1970s. This is one of my favorite of the classic psychedelic artists, Victor Moscoso. He went to the Yale School of Art, so he had this, really, high-level training. He studied with Joseph Albers, who was one of the founders of the Bauhaus. And Albers actually literally told him not to put complementary colors of the same value next to each other because it creates optical effects, and it's very intense. And sort of enacting the hope I die before I get old ethos of the age. That's exactly what he did. That's all he did for the next 10 years. And you see it here, this wonderful psychedelic, Austin Powers effect going on, superimposed on this nude figure. And it's the Doors, so how can you go wrong? This poster is from 1966, so a fairly early poster. It's by Wes Wilson, who basically invented the kind of melting bubble font, the lava lamp lettering. And here he's sort of turning the letters more into kind of like flame. What's really extraordinary about this poster and many of the other posters that we see in the collection is that the value here is not placed on legibility, right? They actually competed with one another to see how difficult to read they could make a poster. What they wanted for you to do was see this intense thing, cross the street, and spend 20 minutes trying to figure out what it said. Psychedelic art, it's about when that underlying reality gets exposed. So in this work by John Summers, a legendary Albuquerque printmaker and teacher, I think you get a real sense of that, where it's almost as if the light that's trapped within matter starts to emerge out of these sticks and twigs and rocks and just kind of dead plant matter. We start to see that everything's alive, everything truly is infused with energy, and it's just transiting from one state to another.
Is a big fine thing. Oonani, swing that thing. Tootie Ma is a big fine thing. Oonani, swing that thing. Tootie Ma is a sure is fine. Oonani, swing that thing. Tootie Ma is a sure is fine. Oonani, swing that thing. Finest gal you ever saw. Did some things against the law. Stole my pop right from my mom. But I'm gonna knock on the door. Waits for me on Mardi Gras Day. Oonani, swing that thing. Waits for me on Mardi Gras Day. Oonani, swing that thing. Some wine. Oonani, swing that thing. Tootie Ma is a drink some wine. Oonani, swing that thing. Tootie Ma is a sure is fine. Oonani, swing that thing. Tootie Ma is a sure is fine. Oonani, swing that thing. Tootie Ma went up the ramp looking for some cat to bam. Policeman came, put her right in jail. But I'm gonna go out of jail.
Hi, loungers. It's me, MORST, here on the Time Machine. Back in 2013, I took 3 videos of 4 songs during the camper set at the Petaluma Mystic Theater, and I think EYE of Fatima is the most rocking. But don't take my word for it. After you're through lounging, go check out the others over in the archive and see if you enjoy them too. All around sufficient levels of great enduring strength and beauty. I think you'll agree. Chris, please set the time machine to winter 2013, and let's go then now, shall we? On the Time Machine.
He's got the eye of Fatima on the wall of his room. 2 bottles of tequila, 3 cats and a broom. He's got an 18-year-old angel, and she's all dressed in black. He's got 15 bundles of cocaine tied up in a sack. This here's a government experiment, and we're driving like hell to give some cowboys some acid and the same motels. We're gonna eat up some wide open spaces like it was a cruise on the Nile. Take the hands off the clock, we're gonna be here a while. And I am the Eye of Fatima on the wall of the motel room. And cowboys on acid, they're like Egyptian cartoons. No one ever